Hey, you guys. Today is Saturday, May 29th, and on Saturdays, I am one of King Charles' co-hosts on King Charles' Topic of the Week. And it was already scheduled weeks out that King Charles was going to do a show today on how the black man is perceived. It just happened to fall on a Saturday after the unfortunate loss of George Floyd was televised, and the entire nation watched a African American man unfortunately lose his life at the hands of a white police officer. And so on the show today, we wore these face masks and these shirts to acknowledge our condolences to the family and friends of George Floyd. It is unfortunate that we are in this place yet again, which feels all too familiar. At the start of the show, I mentioned that when I first heard about another black man dying at the hands of a police officer earlier this week, it didn't register to me. Like, I kept on doing whatever it was that I was doing in that moment. And it wasn't until after I actually saw the video with the police officer with his knee on his neck before it actually resonated. And in that moment, I became sad. But I was sad for more than just the loss of another black man. But I felt sad because I realized that when I originally heard about his killing, it went in one ear and out the other. And I think because we continue to hear about black and brown people dying unnecessarily, I had somehow become desensitized to it, to where you hear it and you keep moving. There was no affect, there was no feelings connected to the fact that someone had just told me that another black man was killed by a white police officer with no probable cause. And so when it started to register, when I watched the video, I became consumed with all of these emotions. In the video, he cried out for his mother. Today on the show, it was mentioned that this man's mother passed away. So in the midst of him having someone on his neck, he's calling out to his mother, to someone who isn't here. But to me, that meant this man felt like he was helpless, completely helpless. That has to be an intense feeling of fear, to know that there was nothing you could do in that moment. But also to know that there were people around you watching, recording, who didn't do one thing. There were officers there who didn't stop it, who didn't say, okay, man, he's down, he's handcuffed, you can stop now. No one stopped him. And so today on the show, King Charles asked the question about how come people just stood there and watched. He says, from my community where I'm from, like, you're not gonna have that, like, somebody gonna jump in. And I reminded him that this wasn't about a black or white thing, why people didn't jump in. It's about the bystander occurrence that says if an incident takes place and there's only one person there to stop it, that one person is more likely to intervene because it's just that one person and they feel obligated because there's no one else to help. But when there are multiple people standing around watching an incident occur, no one intervenes. And no one intervenes because everyone is thinking the same thing. Somebody else gonna jump in, right? Not me. That's not what I'm gonna do. So everyone sits back and waits for somebody else to act until it's too late and no one reacts. So you have people in occurrences like this that are onlookers, watching, video recording, thinking that somebody else is gonna help. This is somebody else's role to jump in and stop. Like, I know I see the injustice taking place. I know I am witnessing a person dying in front of me, but that's not my lane. That's not for me to jump in. Surely the person next to me is going to intervene. Surely the person across from me is going to intervene. And nobody does. Countless times we continue to see these occurrences of Black and brown people being literally killed on videotape. Like, it's recorded. This isn't a belief system. This isn't lies. This isn't fake news. We're watching these things take place in real time for some people, and no one does anything about it. Because the commonality in any of those spaces is that everyone feels a sense of disconnect. People feel their own fear, their own sense of helplessness. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna wait for somebody else to do something. We have become a nation of helpless people, waiting for somebody else to fix the problem, waiting for somebody else to save a life, waiting for somebody else to stop the injustice. Waiting. Thinking that we know something needs to happen. It's just not me though. Like, I'm not the one. She not her. I'm not gonna do that. While people continue to lose their lives. So again, today, we wore these masks and these shirts in remembrance of yet another African American man who lost his life. If we don't take accountability, nobody else will. This isn't a Black thing, this isn't a white thing, this isn't a brown thing. This is a human thing. This message is for any living, breathing human being. Something has to change. We cannot be the bystanders that are looking and waiting for somebody else to create change. We have to do our part to create the change. What does that change look like? I have no idea. But what I do know is that anytime you continue to do the same thing repeatedly, but expect a different outcome, according to Einstein, that's insanity. I'm not calling anybody insane right now, but there's a lot of insane behavior that has been taking place for a very long time. So this video is just to remind you to be called to action, whatever that action looks like, and to be consistent in your action, and to not be the bystander that looks on and waits for somebody else to do something. Do your part. Everybody has a lane. Everyone has something that they can do. It does not matter what you do for a living. It does not matter how much money you make. It does not matter what zip code you live in. You can create change, and it's important that we start doing so. By the way, just in case you like these hot masks and shirts that we are rocking today that says, "I can't breathe," as a reminder that change needs to happen, these masks and this shirt was created by Platinum Crafts. You can find her on Facebook if you're interested in this design or any other one that says, "I can't breathe." Look her up on Facebook, Platinum Crafts. With that being said, you guys, it's time for us to create change.